According to the National Institute for South China Sea Studies, Vietnam is strengthening its maritime militia. Though the figures appear to be exaggerated, Vietnam's action is propelled by the escalating Chinese aggressive activities. In fact, Vietnam has very high stakes in the South China Sea (SCS), which is its lifeline. Its geographical situation clearly brings out this dimension. Vietnam borders the Gulf of Tonkin, Gulf of Thailand, and Pacific Ocean, along with China, Laos, and Cambodia. The elongated, roughly S-shaped country has a north-to-south distance of 1,650 kilometers and is about 50 kilometers wide at the narrowest point. The country has a long coastline of 3,260 kilometers, excluding islands, running from Mong Cai in the north to Ha Tien in the southwest. Vietnam's territorial waters in the SCS extend to the east and southeast, including the continental shelf, islands and archipelagos. There is also a group of around 3,000 islets belonging to Vietnam in the Tonkin Gulf. Besides, it has islands in the Spratly and Paracel archipelagos. Importantly, about 80% of its population lives within 160 kilometers from the SCS coast. Millions of its fishermen live from this body of water. Its 86% trade with the world outside passes through this sea. Hence, the stake of sovereignty over territorial and contiguous waters is also over its EEZ is of existential nature. Security and control over resources are its two major interests in the SCS. The Chinese assertion of the 9-line threatens its sovereignty. Intrusions into its EEZs harms its normal economic activities. While Vietnam usually stands up against the Chinese undue demands, it often has to accommodate the Chinese coercive pressure. There were instances when China tried to put pressure on Vietnam to cancel its joint exploration activities with foreign countries. While immediately China does not need the subsurface resources, it wants to keep them under its control as a long-term strategy. In addition, controlling SCS is to serve as its advance posts for its dominance in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. China perceives Vietnam as an obstacle for acquiring its control over this strategic sea. Not only Vietnam is the strongest opponent of the Chinese 9-line claim in the region, Vietnam's sustained economic growth has pushed it to emerge as an important player in the Southeast Asia, which China perceives as not in its interests. Its role in the ASEAN in keeping the countries united on the issue of the illegal Chinese claims, maintaining the pressure for the finalization of the Code of Conduct (COC), and in the ASEAN outlook for Indo-Pacific (AOIP) annoys China. These bring strategic rivalry between the two nations, despite the two countries have comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership. Though Vietnam publicly does not oppose China, yet it asserts its claims in the SCS. It has approached the UNSC for the implementation of the ruling of PCA of 2016. The recent developments have brought significant changes in the security environment, which are favorable for Vietnam. Vietnam unified the ASEAN countries during its chairmanship to demand the end of the Chinese coercive activities. It became the non-permanent member of the UNSC, raising its stature. The first Quad meeting in March not only assured strong support for ASEAN's unity and centrality as well as AOIP in the free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific but also for facilitating collaboration to meet challenges to the rules-based maritime order in the East and South China Seas. Vietnam's handling of the pandemic has been admired globally. Alongside, the anti-China sentiments have risen in the pandemic period, mainly due to the perception that China concealed information about the virus in the beginning that resulted in the spread of the disease globally. Several manufacturing units in China began to look for other locations to ship their countries. Even before the pandemic period, they had started finding difficult to continue in China because of increasing restrictions and in difficulty in getting young and cheap labor. The Sino-US trade war added to the Chinese problems. The pandemic worked as a catalyst in this respect. Japan is offering financial assistance to the manufacturing unit desirous of shipping from China. Vietnam's continuous economic growth even during the pandemic has made it an attractive alternative location for manufacturing units. At the same time, there are formidable challenges to deal with as well. As China continues to modernize its armed forces, its aggressive activities are escalating. It has also stepped up its propaganda campaign using different means to assert its claim in the 9-line region. The map war has potentials to change the perception among the target population, which may not only complicate the SCS disputes but could give the impression in the Chinese decision-making body that its claims are being accepted by a substantial segment of the global population, prompting it to indulge in misadventure. Overall, the situation is favorable to Vietnam, which has opened several options to protect its interests in the SCS. An analysis of the current situation underscores the urgent need to contain the Chinese coercive and aggressive activities. First, Vietnam needs to send a clear message to China that normal relations between the two countries cannot continue when China is deploying coercive activities. It should be made clear that sovereignty cannot be sacrificed due to ideological links. The Chinese propaganda also needs to counter it effectively. Tourism should be encouraged to its islands. Focused seminars should be organized to project the unjustified Chinese claims.